On the Pulse on the JoyNews channel. When we return, we are rewinding the potholes exhibition and bringing to you an update on possibly what government is doing about your roads, which you've been complaining about for quite some time now. Coming up. And thanks for staying with us here on the Pulse. Today we press rewind, taking you back to our potholes exhibition series. For weeks, we put the spotlight on the gaping potholes on our busy stretches in the city centers, and we seem to be getting some results. One of the producers of the series, Kuji Yangson, will be joining us very shortly in studio with updates shortly. But first, though, let's refresh you and refresh your minds on as we bring you back some reports that we found as part of the potholes exhibition, starting with the one at Kolebu and finally Odoko here in Accra.
Much as it is the role of the media to scrutinize government, it is also important for the press to give them credit for their achievements. Now, one particular achievement for which the press has failed woefully in an unjust, unfair, and unsportsmanlike manner to give government credit for is this: our potholes.
Deep, wide, jagged-edged moon craters peppered artistically across the asphalt canvas of our national road network, turning 10-minute journeys into 50-minute torture sessions, wreaking almost as much havoc on your spine as your shock absorbers. Yes, Ghana's potholes are one of the uncelebrated triumphs of leadership for which our government must not only be lauded but applauded.
Now, what most people don't realize is that these monstrous death traps are not actually signs of the incompetence of our government supervisory bodies. They don't point to any lack of skill on the part of our road contractors. No, these are actually clear evidence of the unmitigated success of some of government's top flagship programs.
Which programs, I hear you ask? For the answer to that profound question, we must take a closer look.
Look at this one. Mid-sized, quite deep, shaped like some sort of asphalt amoeba. To you, this is an accident waiting to happen. But to the government, this is perfect for planting corn.
And it's not just good for planting corn. Potholes are perfect for rice plantation, tomatoes, even cocoa.
As the rainy season approaches, the true value of these potholes becomes apparent. They are perfect for a farmer in planting for food and jobs.
So there you have it. If you have ever wondered why some of these potholes you see on virtually every road in this country of ours never get fixed, well, now you know.
And that is not the only flagship program that government is delivering to rip-roaring success with these cherished and beloved potholes. There is also one village, one dam. Just think of the irrigation potential for the Planting for Food and Jobs project we saw earlier.
And we're still not done. Look at this. Look at the deadly jagged edge of this particular beauty, shaped like the fangs of a village witch. Now, let's measure the depth. Thing happens when your car hits this pothole at speed. Obviously, you immediately need spare parts. After a few encounters, a whole new car. If government is able to maintain a few of these widow-making potholes across the country, just think of what it will do for the automotive industry. One district, one factory.
So the next time you feel like throwing your hands up in despair at the state of our roads, The next time you wonder why government keeps throwing money at incompetent contractors to construct roads which after 3 months will break out in potholes like a prepubescent teenager's face breaks out in pimples, just remember that these are the evidence of your government's stellar performance. Why would they cover them up? Reporting from Ahaya Kwahu, my name is Kojo Yangson.
Creamy beverages always delight the tongue. Splashes of the ones on the streets of Accra do not satisfy drivers. Instead, it makes their tongues wag with complaints and endless frustrations.
7 years ago.
The situation has persisted for the past 7 years. We've been pleading with authorities, but to no avail. Because of the poor nature of the road, a lot of people have actually lost their lives while crossing it.
But how do these creamy beverages end up on the streets in the first place? Potholes. They are served and produced by potholes, a menace on almost all the roads in the country. Apart from serving what looks like beverages on the streets, potholes also create other embarrassing scenes on our roads. This is not a beach resort, neither is it a spot for relaxation. It's actually a lane on the Odoko Malam Highway. Unfortunately, the place has now become a resting place for water, as you can see, and anytime it rains, it becomes a severe challenge not only for drivers but commuters alike. Terrible, devastating, and a real pain. These are some of the strong adjectives commuters use in describing the glaring potholes sitting in the middle of some parts of the Kaneshi Malam Highway, a principal road network in the capital, Accra. Brief inspection of some parts of the highway from Kaneshi First Light to Odoko Waterworks indeed affirmed that the sentiments of road users are not far-fetched, neither are they exaggerations. The situation is simply an eyesore, posing a lot of unbearable inconveniences for commuters. Some of the road users who spoke to JoyNews could simply not hide their displeasure.
Charlie, this one ain't no good, honestly. Every time in less than like 6 months, it gets back to, worse. Yeah, it's really bad. This road originally was very, very good. They came with a certain machine and then they just graded the whole road. And the thing was supposed to fix it some way, somehow. And that's what actually started this whole thing.
It's very bad. And this road, they do the road. I don't know the kind of things they are using to do the road. If they do the road more than 1 month or less than 1 month, then there's damage again. And we are pleading to the government to come and do the road for us.
The cars are not able to move freely here due to the gullies, creating a very awkward situation all the time.
I wonder why authorities can't fix the situation. As usual, they are waiting for a child of a high-profile person to die on the road before they get to work. Meanwhile, if the youth block the road in protest now, they will be questioned. The road from here, that is Kaneshi First Light to Odoko, has some issues. Authorities should at least tackle some of the issues, even if not all.
Just in the middle of the road at Odoko Waterworks is a more dire situation. A pool not designed by nature sits openly in the road, created by constant friction between car tires and the road. The effects of the mini swimming pool at Odoko Waterworks have far-reaching consequences. Ordinarily, road users stand on the last lane, which has now been blocked by water, to board vehicles. But the potholes have compelled them to stand at a much riskier location to get on vehicles. This, they further lament, is worrying.
The water is just destroying the road. creating manholes on the road. The water has also blocked the road. So we are pleading with authorities to promptly address the situation.
The menace is increasingly severe, and the one thing the commuters want is nothing but an immediate solution. For the scores of road users who are not happy with the numerous potholes that have littered the stretch from Kaneshi First Light all the way to Odoko, their concern is that government must speedily intervene in order to avert the inconveniences that the situation normally poses for them. For Joy News, my name is Pakwesi Shandoff.
A sudden sound of pothole symphony. When your vehicle joins the chorus, then be rest assured that a hole will be created in your bank account. Driving on pothole-riddled streets means you have to constantly drift off your lane. From afar, you start looking like a drunk, needlessly turning the steering wheel. If you're wondering why the government is not fixing your potholes, well then, you guessed right. It is because there is no by-election in your constituency. You've been agitating, demonstrating, crying out to government, and even praying to government to fix your potholes. But there is one man who is praying against that prayer.
If I'm a record, I'm I believe I cried almost 15 years in. I said almost 6 months. Will be a mamma and Timiana, my baby, and I'm a cosa. The bomb prices would put us I said, and I'm a mayor. Yes, baby, sell be because I'm a person about baby. I have a person I have a the person bay. I didn't. Almost say, oh, baby, be not drop money.
With so much passion fueled by hunger, he sometimes dangerously approaches drivers and sometimes weaves in between vehicles, begging for coins to put food on the table for his family. For 3 years, he has been filling these potholes with soil on the Iran Clinic stretch, not only for the driving comfort of drivers and passengers, but to eke out a living. So would you be happier if God listened to your prayer instead? This crater is starting to take up the whole lane. A few meters away are well carved out potholes, more like asphalt or worry. They cover the entire stretch and you cannot save your car from them. So why not stop there for a game of a worry? Do you contact when the street is beyond pothole repair?
MP, why did I say, Obey road, no, or so on your road, but some man. As some man said, there be young, DC is Subaga present. Nasa some of whom are true say, Ghana for one drink. Ghana for 7 drink. I must do Obiva, the woman, and so one say, or that out. Won't go to move. What a shock, what a shock. Must I dream one? I dream one, I do car work and pay. Brayer so far, power, my way.
Yes, Ghana's roads can leave you enraged. So like COVID-19, you have to learn to live with it. When it rains, the craters become river-wide, suitable for fishing. So I went for a hook and line. No, what a great catch it was. Right in the middle of the road. So, with all these prospects, why would governments cover them up? Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
And Kujo Yankson is joining us now to have a conversation on this. Obviously, very refreshing, details there about how the nature of our roads across the cities are. But it's reinforcing the conversation about what the status is now. If we go back, to the same spots where you were about a month or two ago, we find the same, trends or, the same situation around the areas.
Well, Blessed, I can report that if you go back to the Kolebu Junction, you will not find the same potholes that I reported on.
Oh.
You will find worse potholes than the ones I reported on. The situation has deteriorated. Now there is a longer stretch that is peppered with potholes. So if in the past you had to endure maybe 100 meters of bumping and grinding, if your axle and your shock absorbers just had to tolerate about 100 meters worth of moon surface travel, this time around it's about 150 meters.
So it's wider.
Now even more of a gauntlet. Okay, so now you have to travel even longer before you get to the smooth road.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is deterioration. Deterioration by definition is a bad situation made worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so we reported on a bad situation. The government responded, said, oh, we're in the process of dealing with these potholes across the cityscapes. We even saw them come and empty the existing potholes with the plan to come and fill them in a matter of days. But now we have worse. We have deterioration. The situation was not dealt with and it's got worse. It's not only at Kolebu, but across the country, in spite of the big response we got from the public, who were all sending in their videos of bad roads. Somehow it has not resulted in the outcomes we had wanted. Things are worse.
What sense do you get from the authorities? That they are not interested, or it's a matter of resources?
Well, Blessed, we get no sense from the authorities, apart from the initial response, because there was a lot of pressure when we started this campaign. Apart from that initial response, there's been no further communication from Department of Urban Roads, or even for the intercity roads like the motorway roads and highway. We're getting nothing. We're getting nothing. All we're getting is the reiteration of old promises. Okay, but nothing in terms of timelines or actual actionable steps that are to be taken. These potholes are just there and they're getting worse. And as the rainy season continues even longer than we expected, you can imagine the problem gets even more difficult.
And could you hear the thing? My colleague Frederick Kwarting also visited the Odoko area and reports that government has begun at least some sort of work within the area. So let's listen to the reaction of people there, and then we can get more updates on this.
It was hell initially. I mean, unnecessary traffic congestion initially, but now I think there have been some improvements. But the fact remains that this is nothing to write home about, considering what we pay for roadworthy and those things. The roads keep destroying our cars. But there have been some improvement. We can only take it like that.
Thank my president said, now we done well for me. Because the first time here is a rough, very, very rough. They're blocking the traffic and delay the cars too now. Now the station come here first time to talk to them. Then we leave. Then we are insulting them. Say, we know they can't do anything. Now I see say you can't do everything for here. Here make genuine now. Now the way it is now is good. For gang put for asphalt for in top. Then we see say finish everything now.
So it means the work is not complete to you.
No, the work is going on. It's true for me.
This road has been here since not today. So we are thank God that they are starting doing construction on the way. So what we are doing is we need to be hoping that it should go on there so that they will not just leave it just like that and go. So if it is good that they are constructing it.
So what else do you want them to do?
Well, nothing much like it. What we want is they should do the construction very well and do the correct solid one so that we can use it on natural streets.
So before, it's because of the potholes on this very aspect of it. It normally causes a traffic jam. At times, the green lights will be on, but because of the pothole, it will take a very long period before you can cross to their side.
The road needs a new surface because here is the main road. I can say it's ECOWAS road. And when the potholes comes like that, it's not good.
Okay, the situation there within Odoko, but we understand that it's a nationwide problem. Nana Yabuachi will be joining us shortly from Kumasi to also paint that picture to us. But could you, this indeed points to the fact that it's getting worse by the day. We need an immediate intervention from government.
I think our idea is a good one. The pothole exhibition is a brilliant way of putting the spotlight on something that has been ignored.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a problem we pretend not to have, but it affects us all. Maybe those who are driving around in government, funded four-wheel drives might not feel the potholes as much as we do.
Yeah.
But the fact is that these roads are, we all use them to go to and from work. It's affecting productivity when it creates these, traffic jams. So the truth is that there is a reason and incentive for everybody to put pressure on authorities to deal with these. And it's pressure that they respond
Indeed, and we'll talk once more about how we're doing that here at JoyNews using the potholes exhibition. Let's also hear from Nana Yalbuachi, who's joining us from Kumasi as well. Nana, what can you say about the situation in Kumasi as we speak?
Well, Blessed, putting the spotlight on these potholes in the Ashanti region has really been helpful. When we engage some of these residents or drivers who ply these roads, they tell us how beneficial it has been, especially those using the Krofrom stretch and the Bokrom stretch, looking at how bad it was. By putting a spotlight on these potholes, we can see that there's been work going on. They've been patching the roads, and it keeps on improving as time goes on. So for Kumasi, they've begun to patch some of these potholes across the region, but some of them still have the experience of these potholes, and then it's quite a problem over here. But I can tell you as a matter of fact that after our spotlight on these potholes across the Ashanti region, from Brokrom to Krofrom to TUC to Dakojum to Oforikrom to Susanso, these 6 communities that we place the spotlight on, I can tell you as a matter of fact that they have their potholes being patched. Today, quite recently, and then today I must say, when we went around to check on these potholes that we place the spotlight on, we realized that especially from TUC to Bokrom, it's being patched, and then work is still going on at Oforikrom and Susanso. So for Ashanti region, I can confirm as a matter of fact that putting the spotlight on these potholes has really been helpful. And the drivers who ply this road and these stretches have been really grateful to us, especially for talking about quite a sensitive matter like this.
Are there some more challenges that you're bringing up in the coming days?
Well, there are quite some challenges, I can tell you, that some of these potholes are really deadly. When you use the airport runabout, the stretch, the Kumasi airport runabout, you realize that the pothole over there's just one particular pothole over there, and it's really deadly. So any heavy truck using that stretch would have to abandon it and then find another way. But if you really want to use that particular stretch, we might not hear any good news. So there are deadly issues with regards to these potholes in the Ashanti region. But I must say that putting the spotlight on the ones that we worked on, they are being worked on by the urban roads. But then there are still these deadly potholes in the Ashanti region. Just like I mentioned, the one at the airport runabout, the ones at TUC, although they are patching them, but there are critical ones over there that we must pay attention to, because we might not hear good news in the coming days if we do not really pay attention to these potholes, this pothole situation in the Ashanti region.
All right, Nana Yalbuachi Yadom, thank you for updating us. Could you that definitely suggest that the challenge is far from over? How can people be a part of, first of all, identifying the problem so we draw the attention of the authorities?
It's very simple, and I think the cue is from what Nana Yalbuachi Yadom said, that it actually works if you keep the pressure going. So here's the plan. Everybody needs to send in their pictures and videos of the potholes in their area. Use the hashtag pothole exhibition, GH potholes if you prefer, and send them through to us, okay, on the X app. And we will absolutely shed the spotlight on it and share your videos and pictures on our bulletins. We will put pressure on those who are responsible for fixing them. We will ask them why these potholes have prevailed. And we will certainly be bringing you more and more features. For example, we are investigating currently a pothole that is said to be 30 years old.
Oh.
Imagine that.
Really? Here in Ghana?
Here in Accra. Okay. So these are some of the features we'll be bringing to continue to put pressure on the authorities.
30 years.
30 years. Same pothole, same place.
Were we sleeping on the job, or what was going on over the years? That's strange. 30 years. Okay. I don't even know what to say right now.
Yeah, it's not a great situation.
Okay, so, using social media and beyond that, are there some plans, for this exhibition to be, widened, to have more and more people join the good cause?
Absolutely. I think at this point it's in the hand of our audience. We have shown them that this is an avenue, and we want them to take the advantage of it as much as possible. Once they voice the situation in their local areas, we will ensure that the authorities are brought to pay attention to them so that we can get results. Kumasi is seeing results, and we will certainly be able to replicate that across the country for all of these hotspots where the roads are completely immotorable and a complete menace to the health of pedestrians and drivers, as well as the safety of vehicles.
Okay, but then we're also looking at the challenge on the Tema motorway. The Roads and Highways Minister speaking about the situation. He says he has a long-term vision for this very stretch, and this is also feeding into the potholes exhibition because there's a challenge there too.
Yes. In fact, it is potholes that have affected the surface of the Accra-Tema motorway. And it's not surprising. The motorway is way past its expiry date, if you will. It was supposed to last for 50 years. We're pushing 60 years now. So 10 years beyond expiry, it can't continue to function the way it was meant to function when it was first constructed, bearing in mind we haven't maintained it so well. So you can see, especially on the Tema to Accra stretch, several very deadly potholes with some sharp edges that are the cause of almost every accident that we have seen in recent times on the motorway. So hearing that it is a long-term vision, it's a bit problematic. I think we understand the situation. There aren't a lot of resources, going about. But this is something that was supposed to have been fixed several years ago. This 10-lane motorway was supposed to have been constructed several years ago. We were even told at some point that the money was available. So for us to now be describing it as a future plan is worrying, because every day we're going to be seeing incidents on this motorway until it gets
And what complicates the matter is you see bitumen being used to patch a concrete stretch.
And engineers are doing this. That's the shocking thing. I'm not a road engineer. I'm not a road engineer.
But at least
I know that you don't patch concrete with bitumen. I don't know how we got to this point, but it's not the solution. And we absolutely need to find something more permanent.
Certainly not. Host of the Super Morning Show, Kojo Jansen. Thank you for joining us. And of course, we're continuing. Hashtag potholes exhibition. That's all you need to do. What's the hashtag?
GH potholes.
GH potholes. And then, of course, we'll be sharing your videos on our platforms and also raising the concerns with the authorities. Kojo, thank you. We'll see you again. There are